Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I get to have you join me in for a little celebration. That's right. Today, I am celebrating ending the 11th year of my business and really beginning the 12th year of my business. And I know everybody's like, well, this is kind of like a holiday. It is, but this is the day that I made the decision. This is the day I made the decision to open my business. This is the day where I'm like, not hiding anymore. I'm doing it. I'm doing it today. And it kind of, it's hard to remember kind of like my life before November 2011, because it was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to do this. I'm really going to put my abilities to work and kind of really support other people as they work in healing themselves. And I remember being a very young girl and really thinking about, like, God, with everything that I've lived through in my life, I hope that I can help others kind of get through the same type of abuse that I've been through. And it was just kind of really like overwhelming and eye-shocking and just kind of like, wow, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to help other people. Fast forward many, many, many years, but before I opened my business, I had the same conversation with God and kind of really had a little heart-to-heart with him. And I said, if I can help one person get through what they've been through in their life, the way I feel like my angels and guides and God's energy has, I will feel like my life is a success. And that was just like, wow. I will feel like this is a success for me. And I will say, with so many dreams and hopes for most people, this was something that was really on my heart to do, but kind of scared at the same time, because not everybody is kind of open to talking to a psychic or being a psychic or kind of that energy of it. And sometimes it's like you feel judged by it and sometimes you don't. And I just was like, I forget. I'm not letting that hold me back. So this month I celebrate my 11 years of owning my own business and kind of starting really only with like $100 in my pocket, and a true desire to bless other people through my psychic abilities. I learned that many things along the way, and as a business owner, and honoring my business anniversary is kind of just a small part of that. But I really want to kind of give you my 11 life lessons in being a small business owner, things that I've learned. One of the things I will say is probably one of my biggest ones is when someone calls or emails me, to respond as quickly as I possibly can. Now, I mean, I know that sounds like totally like too simple, but I really do. I really feel like it's kind of getting back to people as quickly as I can. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but it's literally the quickest I can get back to them. So I think that's like, yay. But I will say kind of the second thing is like always following up, always kind of following up with people and kind of like, how was your reading, or, what else can I do for you? And sometimes that's kind of one of those things that gets overlooked a lot. But I love when clients keep coming back and, wow, you really helped me, and now I have something else coming up. Please help me again. And so kind of that energy of just kind of talking through things or kind of understanding their abilities. I think that's something that I love more than anything else, is helping people understand their psychic abilities. Because when you do, you realize you're not alone in the world. You're not alone by any stretch of the imagination, and it makes life easier. Kind of my number 3 is utilizing responses, kind of I have an assistant, and she is amazing in so many ways, and she kind of polishes up everything I write. So I usually kind of write her stuff, and if you saw it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what? I send it to her, and she polishes it out and kind of makes me look good, kind of that sort of thing. But that's kind of the fun part of this, is that I really get to have her bless my business and bless her in return. But it's one of those like sending things, out that are kind of like already templated. Like I just need to put a few items in there and send it out. It makes my life go so much easier, instead of spending 5 or 10 minutes to writing a new email to a new person or anything like that. I can send them something that's templated, and it kind of just makes my life so much easier and kind of so much more easy, calm, relaxing. And that's one of those things that you can do to kind of follow up a little bit faster, or always being really responsive when you're connecting with other people. I will say living by my calendar, that is something, I guess it's number 4, is kind of living by my calendar and like learning how to plan and organize and color code. That was like a huge, oh my gosh. And I really kind of learned this when I worked kind of prior to this life, and as an assistant manager in an apartment management company. And it was kind of like learning not only to balance my family and my business time, but also kind of keeping track of everything that was due, and when it was due, and how it was due, and all of those kind of things. And I think that's kind of the big thing for me, is like I'm always trying to learn how to keep doing it and to keep better balance in my life. And I think I do that best when I rely on my calendars. Kind of number 5, I know, is never stop learning. I have run my business in so many fashions, and I have learned so many things over the years. And I think that's one of the things I love learning about other people, is like, how do you run your business, or what can I learn from you that I can work or put into my business? Since my business is not the normal, that makes it like so much easier, so much better, because it's one of those, like, if an engineering firm is learning how to put up a website, like I could still learn how to put up a website. That would help me. But if you're kind of learning kind of something different, it's like, that's not going to really always fit into what I do or how I do things. I will say taking classes, webinars, and kind of listening to other business owners is kind of my key trick on that, is like never stop learning. Always looking for the next thing that will work really well for me and my business. The next one is finding people to assist. Now, I have hired many, many people over the years, usually come in and assist for a period of time. They're coming in for just a month or two. They're helping out when it's really my busy season, and kind of like short periods of time. Although really my assistant that helps me kind of fine tune my writing, she is a total godsend, because it's one of those, she takes on things that I can't always take care of myself. She kind of picks up the slack where I can't always do it. And so I know that like she's got me covered on that part. And sometimes it's nice to have someone to kind of talk to about kind of like, do you think this is a good video? Do you not? Do you think I should change this? All of those things, kind of someone to kind of lean on and kind of really get her insight and that sort of thing. And I think that's one of those things, is when you hire someone, is really trust your gut. Not only as a psychic, but as a business owner, finding someone that you can work with, kind of making things easier, kind of how do things work, how do we work with so many other things. It's kind of like making things work for you and having that right person for it. And if it's not, then let them go and find someone else who can come in and assist you in the right ways. I am not a kind of hover boss. I am kind of the, here, you figure it out, and if you have a question, let me know. And so a lot of times that lets people, kind of like not necessarily sink or swim, but kind of like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to work this? How are you going to deal with this part of it? And I think that's a very special trait for most people. And I don't necessarily like to kind of, every little thing. If they have questions, I love to answer them. Yet at the same time, I kind of let them do their own thing. I will say my next one is saving money. This is something that I kind of love doing. I kind of love coupon shopping. It's kind of one of those like secret hidden talents of mine kind of thing. But I love that I have no debt in my business. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you should, all this kind of stuff. I get that. But at the same time, like I have no debt in my business. Everything that I bring in goes back into my business over and over and over. And it has for 11 years. If I require saving up money for something to do something or go somewhere, I do that. And I choose to use my business this way and not to do it where I feel like I have to borrow money or take a loan out to do something like that. I think that's makes it easier for me to work with and kind of deal with things. I will say that my next one is having goals that kind of freak you out a little bit, kind of like, oh my gosh. The first time I thought, wow, I am going to do a video a day. I'm going to launch one video a day. And I think I did that like 2 or 3 years ago. That was like, oh my gosh. And I've pretty well done it. I probably launch about 400 videos a year. So that's kind of one of those fun things. Kind of once you get in the rhythm of it, it does make it a lot easier and kind of make things flow a lot nicer with things around you, but also kind of having goals with your family, going on certain trips, or this is where I'd like to go next, and kind of bringing that all together. I have a lot of clients that I've worked with over the 11 years, and I think helping them set their goals has really brought that home for me, is setting my own goals for what do I want to accomplish, what do I want to do in my life, and kind of where do I want to be in the next year. So that is a really fun one. Let's see, my next one is probably the biggest lesson I have ever learned in my business is not to judge. That is something that I've heard from clients, I've heard it from angels and guides, from loved ones who have passed, from many, many, many people, is when we judge, we really are separating ourselves from other people. We're judging other people for crazy reasons, and that can bring in a lot of really hard or harsh karma that someone has to deal with at some point. And so that's really not where we want to go. So that is probably my number one thing that I have really worked to do, is not to judge other people, no matter what's going on, or how their life is going, or what's going on with their lives. Understanding that everybody has hard spots in their lives, and I guess the fun part is I get to assist them with that. Usually when they're grieving a loss of a loved one, I'm able to come in and kind of gift them messages and stories or whatever it is from the other side, so they know they're still connected to their loved ones. These are kind of like my life lessons that I've learned in the last 11 years of my business. And so that can be really fun and very exciting. There are things that I do in my business that I never believed I would be doing. Live events are crazy. That sort of thing. Doing group readings and having clients come in and connect not only with myself but with other people and kind of learn about their abilities is amazing. I think one of the things is kind of like getting things into kind of perspective, planning my night before of like, what do I need to take care of tomorrow? What do I need to do? Do I need to drive to a client? Is a client driving to me? Am I doing a group reading or a ghost tour? Or kind of where am I going? And kind of getting my head wrapped around that a little bit, and kind of setting a list of things that I would love to accomplish in my office. I am never as organized as I really would hope to be, but that's kind of the fun part. I love organizing, and I love really trying to get organized. Many people have come in over the years to try to help me stay organized, but that's the fun part, is it doesn't always work for me, and it's always a kind of switch around, or how do we figure this out, or how do we do this part. So that is something that I love doing. My next one is kind of learning to take breaks. When I first started my business, I worked so many days, from as soon as I dropped off my kids in the morning until I picked them up after school, and then as soon as I came back in, I was doing it again. And sometimes I realized at 5 o'clock in the evening, I haven't had breakfast yet. I haven't had a glass of water yet. I've just been going and going and going and going. So I've really worked kind of hard to kind of take those breaks. Sometimes it's a 15-minute break, and I will sit down and just kind of relax for a little bit. Sometimes I'll walk up and down my street, just kind of get out and get motivated a little bit. And sometimes it's just taking a break for lunch. I mean, I know it sounds really ridiculous, but I swear sometimes I'm working through lunch, sometimes I'm working through dinner, and sometimes it depends on what my clients require of me. Yet at the same time, it's one of those, I don't always take care of me, and so that's something that I am working on. I think that's something that is always like a work in progress for myself, and I really do have it on my calendar to take breaks, but sometimes I just have to ignore that one and keep going. I will say kind of one of the things I've learned is kind of having a business has really made me kind of like a better person. My work-life balance always kind of seems to tilt a little bit heavy to the work side, but I still try to keep my family in what I'm doing. It's one of those, and try to balance that out. I do try to visit with people and kind of like keep in touch with everybody in my family and kind of that sort of thing, kind of stay connected. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not so good, and it really depends on what I have scheduled. But so sometimes I just have to plan those times of like, hey, let's have a chat today, or let's do something else. But kind of really the fun part is owning a business has really changed my life for the better. I think that's the fun part. I really do think that when you're your own boss, you are really kind of multitasking constantly and always looking for the bright side of the things, kind of like how can I work on this better, faster, easier, those sort of things, and finding the right help, finding the right people to come in and assist you with different things, and keeping your balance in your business, that sort of thing. During any given day, I can be my own computer person, my own videographer, I can be my own video editor, marketing person, all of those, all kind of social media people, all in one. I do it all. And that's kind of the scary part, but it's also the fun part. I have learned so much about so many crazy different things. I think that's kind of the fun part. I will tell you, having your own business is tough. You make a lot of decisions, more than you ever can imagine. And sometimes that can be overwhelming and a lot scary of like, am I making the right decision? Am I taking on the right thing? Should I do this? Should I do that? All of those things. Should I market this or should I not market this? Should I do this or how should I do this? That's my day. That's my day. I have second and third guessed myself so many times and had tantrums, fired myself, trusted my gut, trusted my heart, asked my angels. I work for free with me all the time. My angels work kind of like answering my questions, helping me out. And I think that's one of the things that I love best about my business. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.